All right, today we are diving into one of modern biology's most powerful tools, the gene expression omnibus, or GEO. We're going to learn how to navigate this absolutely massive library to find the exact data you're looking for.
So let's just imagine for a second. You're a researcher, you've got a super specific question, but the answer is buried somewhere inside a digital library with millions of entries. How on earth do you even begin to find it? And this isn't some hypothetical problem. It's the reality that scientists face every single day.
Yep, you heard that right. The GEO database has over 6.5 million samples. See, the problem for scientists these days isn't really a lack of data, it's the exact opposite. It's an overabundance. The real challenge is sifting through this mountain of information to find that one perfect, high-quality data set that can actually answer your question.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with what GEO even is, then we'll learn its special language. After that, we'll get our hands dirty and build a real-world search for a diabetes study. And finally, we'll talk about what this new skill really unlocks for you.
Okay, so let's meet the library itself. The answer to this overwhelming data problem is this incredible, centralized public resource called the Gene Expression Omnibus. At its heart, GEO is basically the world's public library for functional genomics data. When scientists do these huge experiments, think microarrays or next-gen sequencing, they put their data here for everyone to see. This makes science way more transparent, it makes it reproducible, and it lets other researchers build on that work instead of starting from scratch every time. It's a real game changer.
Its mission is actually super simple, but incredibly powerful. First, just be the database. Second, make it really easy for scientists to submit all their data, properly labeled and everything. And third, this is the part we're focusing on today, let anyone, and I mean anyone, search the database to find and download exactly what they're looking for.
Okay, so we've got this amazing library. Fantastic. But just like any real-world library, it has its own cataloging system, its own special language. To find anything useful, you've got to learn how to speak GEO. You can't just walk in and yell, "Diabetes," and expect to find the right book. Well, you could, but it probably wouldn't get you very far. The language of GEO really boils down to three core concepts. First, you've got the platform. That's the how, the specific technology that was used in the experiment. Next, there's the sample. That's the what, the actual biological stuff like a piece of tissue or a cell line. And finally, you have the series, which is what groups all the related samples together to make a complete study. Now, while those three are the fundamental building blocks, what we're really hunting for is usually something called a data set. Think of this as the final product, the curated, polished, ready-to-analyze experiment. It's a clean set of comparable samples from a single study, and it's the perfect treasure to find for our own analysis. So how do we ask for a data set? This right here, this is the secret sauce. The basic recipe for a really powerful GEO search looks like this. You type in a term, then you tell GEO which field to look in, and then you use an operator like and, or not to connect it to your next term. This little formula is what turns a vague, messy search into a surgical strike. All right, theory's over. Let's put this language to work. We're going to build a query from the ground up to find a very specific type of study, one that looks at type 2 diabetes in human pancreatic cells and was done using a microarray. And just look at the difference this makes. On the left, you've got your simple keyword search. You get thousands of results, most of them useless. But on the right, that's the kind of advanced query we're about to build. It's a scalpel, not a sledgehammer. It gives us exactly what we want and nothing we don't. So the trick is to break our question down into components. For our search, we have four main parts: the disease, the organism, the tissue, and the type of study. And for each of those parts, we have a specific search term and, this is the most important bit, the exact field name that GEO uses to file away that information. Okay, let's build this thing step by step. First, we lock in the disease. We use quotes to search for the exact phrase, diabetes mellitus type 2, inside the title field. Then we use the AND operator to add our second rule, the organism has to be human. Next, another AND to get even more specific. The sample source must be pancreatic cell. And for our final step, we filter for the exact study type. See how each step makes our search more and more laser-focused? And there it is, our final query string. We have successfully translated a complex biological question into the precise language of the GEO database. This little line of text is going to find us only the datasets that match all four of our rules. Pretty cool, right? So now we know how to find the data. But let's talk about why this is such a big deal.
Mastering this skill isn't just about finding one paper. It's about unlocking a whole universe of potential discoveries.
The data that's just sitting in GEO is an absolute goldmine. Seriously. Researchers are reusing these public datasets to do incredible things. They're finding new biomarkers to predict disease, they're combining different studies to see patterns nobody noticed before, they're mapping out complex biological networks, and they're even finding old drugs that could be repurposed to treat new illnesses. The potential is just massive.
You know, what you've just learned isn't just a recipe for our one diabetes search. It's a flexible, powerful technique. You can swap out the disease, the organism, the cell type, the technology. You can change anything you want. This is a master key that fits millions of different locks.
Just think about that for a second. With a bit of practice, you can now navigate one of the most important scientific resources on the planet. You can literally stand on the shoulders of giants, using data from thousands of labs and decades of research, and it's all completely free and available to you.
And really, that just leaves us with one final question. You have the tool, you have the method, you have the key to this massive library of knowledge. So, what questions are you going to ask? What discoveries are just waiting out there for you to make?